I'm Sullivan from Unity Technologies. Today I'm going to be talking about enabling your success through ads and analytics. And play. Is this working? This doesn't seem to advance right now. All right, just hang with us a couple seconds as we get some support. All right. All right, so we're waiting a couple minutes to load up the presentation. So to start out with, how many of you are using Unity ads or analytics in some sense right now? Great, I see a few of you out there are. Today what I'm going to be talking about is three services, really, that Unity provides. The first is Unity Ads. Oh, there we go, the presentation's going. The second is Unity IAP, and the third is Unity Analytics. And together, these services provide monetization horsepower for your game. All right. Ads provides one component, IAP provides the other component. And together, these provide the most important metric to your game, which is ARPDAU, right? And what we've seen in the past couple of years is developers have started being more sophisticated about how they blend ads and IAP together. And the result is a blended ARPDAU number that maximizes each. The way that you measure and optimize these numbers is using analytics. All right, so let's start out with Unity Ads. What are the strengths of the Unity Ad Network? First, we have a tight integration with the Unity Editor. It's a simple one-button click to get ads running in your game. Second is expertise in game designs. We're more than just an ad network, we're a game platform. So when we think about the ways to talk about advertising in your game, we like to give concrete examples of the publishers we work with that have done it best. That's why today I'm going to highlight a couple of those publishers and talk about the game mechanics they use around the advertising rather than just advertising numbers themselves like eCPM, fill rate, those kinds of numbers. And then finally, we have a global reach. Unity is a global company with ad sales and support in countries all over the world. All right. As I mentioned in the last slide, there's a simple setup. We have no SDKs. We know you're all tired of SDKs. So for ads and analytics, you turn a button, you're in the editor, it works right out of the box. The second is, if you're not in the Unity editor, we still let you put ads and analytics in your native games. That's just a simple drop-in SDK, 5 lines of code, you're up and running. I'm happy to announce that since last time we were here in Canada and during GDC, we have 123% more developers in Canada monetizing using our platform. So let's get into the ads themselves. The main ad component that we have with Unity is rewarded video ad. And we did a survey of over 2,000 developers to find out where they were seeing success. And what we found was this: 71% of players prefer to watch rewarded video ads as their primary way of paying for a game, right? So this is an accepted thing to do. We know that only 3 to 5% of your players monetize through IAP, and other players realize that there's a trade-off for providing entertainment. People are used to seeing ads. Yeah. But one of the reasons rewarded video works so well is if you think about the history of ads and how things have evolved. In the past, you used to design a game loop, design all the fun activities of your game, have people collect resources, invest, expand, and then you tacked on some sort of advertising experience in the corner because you thought right before launch, oh my gosh, I have to make money doing this to keep running my studio. And what we saw is things like banner ads, things like interstitial ads, where the ad experience was very peripheral to the experience or actually interfering with the experience of the game. Over time, this has evolved. So the first was putting rewarded video in your store in order to monetize alongside your IAP. But what we've seen with the evolution is doing this better than we have in the past has huge ramifications for the effectiveness of the advertising. And we're not talking about 10%, we're talking about 100 to 200% improvements in ad monetization in your game, with little to no effect on the IP monetization. So we worked with one developer, this is a case study, where they went from less than 10% of their players interacting with ads on a daily basis to over 35%. What this means is triple the amount of revenue from ads. So what did they do that was different? Well, the main thing is they created an ad experience which is integrated with the mechanics in their game. So rather than have a banner ad sitting in the corner while you're playing the fun part of your game, they've integrated ads into their core loop. So a player plays, they progress, they're offered a reward. As part of the progression, they're allowed to upgrade, collect resources, and continue playing the game. This is a pretty abstract example of what I'm or just an abstract concept of what I'm talking about. So let's dig into an example. So the first is Farm Away by Future Play. What they did was they are seeing an average of 22 rewarded video ads per install in the game, and 15-cent ARPDAU in the US markets. So for those of you who've done ad monetization in the past, this is an outstanding result when you normally could expect 1 to 3 cent type of ARPDAU through ads. Let's see what they got. So this is your typical farming game you're playing. Farm Away literally lets you make it rain by watching an ad in your game. So what we see that they've done is they've let you watch an ad to enter a bonus mode in your game. Right now we're watching an ad from, I think this is Storm 8 Bingo, Clue Bingo. And now the player is watching the ad with the expectation that they have a lasting effect for interacting with the ads. This creates a much more positive experience than watching a rewarded video ad, getting 5 coins, or having an interstitial pop up in between their turns, right? So now everything's awesome, and they're playing their game with 2 times the bonus. So to focus again on the mechanics here, the mechanic is watching a video to enter bonus mode, and they've designed around it. They're also sort of on the forefront of creating new types of gameplay called view to play, where this game has little to no IAPs, and people actually pay to play the game by interacting with ads. So the question I think a lot of people think about immediately when we spend 5 minutes talking about monetization is, all right, well that's fine, but what does that mean to my engagement, right? Because it doesn't mean anything to monetize if you like lose your retention because you're shoving ads in the face of players all the time. But what we've seen is 80% of players are open to engaging with ads. From that survey of 2,000 developers, over 50% saw no difference or increased retention from players that interacted with ads or developers that had games with ads in them. And this is because a lot of your most engaged players are hitting pinch points in your game design. And when they do that, they want to proceed. If they can't proceed and the pinch point's too hard, they're just going to drop out of your game. But if you give them a little push, a bonus, some extra currency, you can see where that actually enhances their ability to have progress in the game and keeps your players coming back and engaged. The second part of that is appointment mechanics. All right, so another slide. 10 to 15% increased revenue from ads. Some nice graphs. No ads, viewed in ads. But it's like I said, your most engaged players are more likely to view an ad. So you think about the cause and effect here. With 50% of you're seeing 50% D1 retention from players that viewed an ad, and that makes sense, right? Because the people that viewed an ad probably got further in your game, were more engaged, more likely to see one. But the second point is important, which is you're not cutting into your LTV. So looking at users, the same users that are viewing your ads, trying to find ways to progress, are also people that are paying, right? So part of that LTV comes from the ad monetization. The other part comes from the fact that eventually you're going to have a game design with a pinch point good enough so that the player will have been continuously engaged and decide to monetize through IP. All right. So our second case study is by GameHive, makers of Tap Titans, also makers of Beat the Boss 1 and 2. And we just have a nice quote here. They're seeing no loss of retention. And what they have is when people come and collect a daily bonus, they can watch a video in order to double that bonus, right? And here we see the combination of an appointment mechanic, people coming back to play the game every day. They're given an opt-in or opt-out, so they can just collect their bonus. But if they want to double that bonus, they can watch an ad, and it creates better monetization for you as a developer. So here we have another ad. It's going to play all the way through. So one important thing to note is these rewarded video ads are not incentivized installs, right? So people play the game, they get an incentive to watch the ad, but nobody at any time is paid for the install. That is all performance-based in the network and completely opt-in by the players, so that you know when you are acquiring users to rewarded video ads, you are getting a qualified player that has decided that the story that you've told in an advertisement is compelling enough that they want to engage and install and play that game. All right. So that's the first piece of the monetization puzzle, ads. The second is IP. And this gets back to Unity as a platform. So let's frame the problem. Every single store that you want to monetize in the developer has a different way of doing IP. It is an absolute nightmare and it's an absolute mess. So we have Google, Apple, Windows, Amazon. They have their store plugins. We're all familiar with integrating with them. And the worst part of this is if you screw up this IP integration, you're either going to get, one, rejected when you try to submit your application to the store, which is going to set you back days trying to figure out what happened to it. And the second part is you actually can get in the store and have your IPs be completely broken. And so you start wondering, why did my IP not make any money on launch? What's going on? And then you have a big fire drill and it's a nightmare. So Unity IP sets out to solve this problem. We've designed one unified interface to interact with all the stores. We've completely abstracted the details of how stores work to let you only integrate once with Unity IP and get on every platform and get on every store. This is a huge problem the developers had. We launched this earlier this year. It's doing extraordinarily well. We're getting a lot of great feedback, and we're currently in the next phase of development for Unity IP. So if you have suggestions, I recommend going in the forums, putting in your favorite feature requests. It's going to continue to evolve. And right now, we're focused on expanding our reach to new stores. So we currently support iOS, macOS, Google Play, Windows, Amazon, Samsung, and Tizen. And coming soon are stores in Southeast Asia that developers have never had access to before. And again, the important point here is that it's all available through one unified interface. So you actually don't have to do anything except repackage your application for Google Play and put it in the Amazon store, or vice versa. Lastly, I'm going to tell you about Unity Analytics. And this is really the way that you measure and iterate over the two pieces that I just mentioned before. So ads and IP. It's a fully multi-platform solution. It's built for games. So you're going to see all the typical things you're used to seeing, DAU, revenue, retention. We are the biggest analytics platform for developers that build on top of Unity. And then finally, it's natively integrated. Flip of a button, everything's turned on, you go to the dashboard, it's fully integrated end to end. So what are some of the main features of our analytics solution? The first is a high-level game dashboard. Here we'll see all the metrics you're used to: active players, sessions, retention, revenue. You can look at trends, because that's one of the most important pieces of an analytics solution, is figuring out whether things are moving in the right direction, how that last release that you built is doing, who is monetizing, how many new users are you getting, is your MAU going up, is your MAU going down. So that's a high-level dashboard. The next piece is the data explorer. We give you a lot of power to dig down into your data. Segments are built into the system. Being able to look at custom events that have a second level of variables is built into the system. So you can get as sophisticated as you want with this, and in the end, you own all your data. So we let you graph within our dashboard, but we also let you export the raw data and do whatever you need to do in your own analytics system. And finally, we have the funnel analyzer. So when you set up that IAP system, you want to know the effectiveness of how many people saw my store, how many people converted, how many people started to convert and then ended converted. Using custom events, you can use the funnel analyzer, set these all up in our dashboard, and be able to get extremely good insights on how well different parts of your game are working. So in conclusion, Unity is the only engine that pays you to use it. We paid out more money to publishers last year than people paid in licensing revenue to use the Unity engine. We did that by providing a full platform that lets you monetize, engage, and retain your users, and then use analytics to gain insights, how to better improve and keep the funnel and keep your loops going. So if you have questions about any of this, you can go to unityads3d.com or analytics. And if you have questions right now, just raise your hand and we can chat some. Thanks.
Is there one at the back there? If we could get a mic over.
With the IAP tool, are you putting that into the Unity tool and then also adding the packages into Apple and Google, or is it just living in the Unity tool?
So right now, you set up your IPs in the Unity tool. The recommendation is that you name them all the same thing for the different platforms. Our next phase of development is simplifying the way that you get that data into the different platforms. So it's on our immediate roadmap.
Oh, there's one over there.
So I want to get Unity. I have a mic. Okay. So I want to get Unity Analytics into my game, but I didn't build my game in Unity. Is that possible?
Right now, you need to be in Unity for Unity Analytics. We have some plans later on our roadmap to address games that weren't built with Unity, but today, the integration is turning on the editor, and you get many of the events out of the box. Anything else? Oh, right there.
So how easy it is to download this data for further analysis in some external tools? Like, is that possible to download the data?
Yeah, so we just released
analytics data, and yeah.
Absolutely. So you own all your data. We just released in preview mode a feature called Raw Data Export that lets you hit a button, download an Excel file, and have all the data to process yourself.
Is any of this available for VR, or is this all just mobile?
Right now, we are supporting mobile platforms, but certainly VR is a big part of the future at Unity, and so I would expect the long term to have features like that.